TCG hobbies can be very expensive, but let's talk about 3 almost free things that every single person in the hobby needs. Well, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. Let me get the camera all set up there. Hope you're having yourself a great day. Thank you so much for being here, for taking some time out of your day to watch a video that I put together. We are on our way to almost hitting 1 million views in 2021. I think we might get there, we may not. It depends on how hard I work. Anyway, I wanted to talk about 3 things I think that every TCG collector, investor, player, human being that interacts with the TCG hobby needs to have. And the nice thing about these 3 things is that they are essentially free. One of them costs money, but I don't know. It's essentially free because you probably already have it. So I want to talk about 3 things that I think you need. I'm very curious if you come up with some other ideas, leave them in the comment section below. If you disagree with one of my ideas, I'd love to hear that too. This is a dialogue, not just me talking to you. Anyway, hope you're having a good one. Let's talk about these 3 things. Number 1, the number 1 thing, and it's perfect because it is definitely the freest thing, is a play group. A group of people to interact with the hobby with you. Now, some of you are players, some of you have this already at your LGS, some of you are investors and you don't have this yet. And I think it's really important that you get it. And I'm not saying that you're like a top level player. For me, I have multiple of these play groups. I have a play group that, plays Commander, Magic the Gathering. Those are, some of my old friends that, we played a lot of Magic together. I haven't been with them for a while, but that's a play group. But then I also have Robbie, and Robbie and I play a ton of new TCGs together. It's just like whenever I get a new TCG and I want to try it out, or even a board game, I call up Robbie. I have a board game group that whenever I get a new board game, I call up Jake and Ethan and they come over and we play a new board game. That I have on Thursday nights, even online. We have a Thursday night armory for Kitchen Table TCG, and that's a group of people that it's probably the same. I bet you 80% of the people are the same people every week. It's a group of people, it's a friendship, it's what makes the hobby worth it, in my opinion. So even if you are an investor, even if you are just a collector, finding a group of people to enjoy the hobby with, I think is really important. And this can look different in a lot of different ways. Maybe it's a Discord group of people that collect together and you guys are just friends talking about collecting. That can kind of scratch this nerve. But I would really encourage you to find a group of people to sit down and play the game with on your level. And that's really important. Whatever game you're into, there are other people who are on the same level as you. You don't have to go into an LGS. I want you to go into an LGS, but some of you won't go into an LGS and play. Find some people on your level that you can enjoy the hobby with, and that will give you a lot more joy in this hobby. So that's number 1, is a play group. Number 2, this is the one that might cost some money. My guess is that you already have this, but number 2 thing that every TCG player, collector, investor needs to have is a favorite deck that they will never sell. And I think this is super important. And all the time that I've quit Magic the Gathering, all the time that I've gone back and forth on Flesh and Blood decks, I've always kept one single deck from every game that is like, no, this is my deck. For Magic the Gathering, it's my first deck that I ever built. It's like a 5-color bringer. It's terrible. It's got like Bringer of the Blue Dawn, Bringer of the Red Dawn, Bringer of the Black Dawn. It's a horrible, terrible deck. But for me, it's just that it scratches that itch of like my first joy of getting into the hobby, really, the TCG hobby. And so having that one deck that you're like, no, it doesn't matter what happens, this I'm always going to have, so that in 5 years when you've quit the game and your buddy comes over and you're like, hey man, remember when we used to play that game? You're like, oh yeah, I still have my deck, and you guys can sit down and relive that experience. Or in 5 years, you can just still have it. You can remember what got you interested in the hobby in the first place. So I think Flesh and Blood is great because you can have your hero that you really gravitate towards. Like I know a lot of people say Dorinthia, a lot of people say Bravo. Those are their heroes that they love, that they're really into. And so take your favorite hero. For me, it's Casai. I have my Casai Blitz deck that I really don't play anymore, but like it's still built together. The E-strikes are still in it. Tomorrow, if I wanted to, I could pick up that deck and I could just simply enjoy it. I don't have to think about any of the value of it because I'm never going to sell it. That's not why it exists. It exists to remind me of what allowed me to fall in love with the hobby. And so keep something like that, a favorite deck that you always have, that you can always answer when somebody says, what's your favorite deck? You know exactly what that is. All right, and now last, I think not necessarily the most important, but one of the most important things that I like to emphasize on my channel is have a way to sell your cards. TCGs are an inherently expensive hobby. The only other kind of hobby that I would say that really scratches like the reach of TCGs in terms of financial is like anything that's like water sports or whatever, like owning a boat. Like that's the level of how many boats does he have? That's the level of depth that we are in the TCG hobby. It is an intrinsically expensive hobby. And so to be able to sell your cards and to recoup some of that cost and to invest in different cards or even to take money out to help do something with your family, I think it's really important that you have a few things. And number one is an eBay store account. Coming up with an eBay account allows you to sell anything, A. But B, it's a pretty quick way to move stuff. I really think eBay is the first type of account that you should get. It's a great way to learn how to ship and to sell and to whatever. It's really, you can print labels straight from eBay. It's a great way to get into selling cards. You're probably only gonna be selling cards that are like $15 or more on eBay. I wouldn't recommend that you sell anything less than that. But eBay is a great way to have a ability to get some of your money back. Secondly, then get a TCG Player seller account. I really prefer TCG Player to eBay as a TCG account. I do sell like some sealed product over on eBay. I use eBay mostly for like selling retro video games and some other things that I just, other hobbies that I used to have. But for TCGs, I really like TCG Player because you're able to put all of your cards and have a catalog or have an inventory that pretty much manages itself. On eBay, you have to come up with an individual listing. You have to take a photo of the card. You got to type it all in. It takes probably 10 times as long to list a card on eBay than it does on TCG Player. And then you also have to like pay attention to the listing. This is the same thing with Facebook. Like, I don't like selling cards on Facebook because you just have to constantly be updating your posts and your inventory. TCG Player, you're gonna pay a fee. eBay you pay a fee too, but TCG Player you're gonna pay a fee, but what that fee gets you is the ability to have your cards on the market at all times and to not have to navigate them. You can just be hanging out watching a movie and you can sell a card and the money goes in the account and then later on you pay for it. You don't have to respond to a bunch of messages and constantly be on. So I really recommend setting up a TCG Player store and ability to sell. And anybody can do that. You don't have to be a store in order to do it. You just have to be an individual or whatever. And I think that those three things, if you can have those three things, you have a play group that is meeting regularly or people regularly to interact with and to talk to about the hobby. If you can have a main deck for your favorite games that you never sell, that you never let go of, that you always, maybe it's that you foil out and that you really love and that really keeps you engaged in the hobby, and then a way to sell your cards so that you can fund the hobby and experience new stuff and when that comes out. I think if you have those three things, you will vastly enjoy this hobby more than if you didn't have those three things. So just a little suggestion for you. Let me know what you think in the comment section. What are some three things that maybe I missed, or what are some things I missed? What do you disagree with? Are you like, no, you should never sell cards. That's ridiculous. Why are you telling everybody to sell their cards? Or if you're like, no, why do I need to play the game? I just like to invest and collect. I want to hear that perspective. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Other than that, I hope you have yourself a fantastic day, that you remember to be kind to the people around you, and remember that this is just a game. It's just I bought so many foil Sonata Arcanics, and I've lost so much money on foil Sonata Arcanics, but look at how pretty the card is. I love this card. It's amazing. I'm so glad that I have, look, it's a foil. Don't forget, like, you can just enjoy things. It's not all about money. Because I have a play group that I enjoy it with, because I know that if I need to, I can sell it, and because it doesn't go into my favorite deck. Anyway, I just saw that card there. Hope you have a great day. Remember to be kind to people around you. We'll talk to you again later.